back, everybody. This is Edwin, the Magic Engineer, and I'm going to be touching on a subject that I actually did a video on a long time ago. I did a video all the way back in, I think May of 2017, and I put a funny title on it. I called it, I play vintage because I can't afford standard. And the title was supposed to be a little bit funny. It was supposed to kind of have some shock value and make people look at it and be like, what is this guy talking about? Because vintage is this crazy expensive format, even back then. But it's a true statement. And the true statement that I was making back then is I'm not in a position where I just want to take any money that I've made, any wealth that I've got, and just put it into a really expensive game that I know the card values are going to go down because there's going to be overprinting. There's going to be a rotation of cards out of the format. And so it's not so much that I can't afford it because I have no money to put into it. It's more I don't have money that I'm willing to lose, was the point that I was making in the video. And so I thought this would be a really good follow-up video because, years later after making those public statements, I now get to circle back and say well, how did these things do? How did these numbers actually work out? So the video that I made before, I'm going to link it right up top right now. So if you want to see it, the link's here, or you could also see it in the video description. But anyways, this screenshot I'm going to put on over the front here. That's a screenshot of the actual video. That's me. You can see me sitting there years ago, less weight, less gray hairs. I miss the old Edwin. But anyways, the point is that was in the first setup that I'd ever made for YouTube videos. It was in a house back in Houston. And when I was talking about this, I was so focused on trying to get the message through that you don't want to waste money on cards that you know are going to go down. I use this application to track my most expensive cards. I track all of the cards on another application called MTG Studio. That's my main inventory, the electronic version. But Echo MTG I use on the cards that actually have some value to track them in the market. Now, if I go to Echo MTG, they have this neat feature that lets you actually lay out the value of individual cards or your collection, or even just an entire set. What you're looking at here on this screen is the actual set price of the cards that were quickly going to be in the standard format starting around May of 2017. Now, those cards, you're not looking at the price of them in 2017. You're looking at today's price for having a complete set of those cards. Now, notice the kind of numbers you're looking at here. Just a few $100 each for these individual sets. Now let's flip forward to this screenshot. And this screenshot is looking at the set price of standard cards in standard format, having a complete set, but in today's cards, 2024. Now notice how it's several $1,000s per complete set. The point I'm making is when cards come out in standard, they cost a lot more, several $1,000s. And to get at least one complete set. And if you are a really active player, the most expensive cards are the ones you're going to want. Who cares about the small cards? So you're probably going to want most of the value from complete sets, but probably even 4 copies. So each of those numbers I circled, quadruple it. That's probably what you're going to want to spend to have complete sets of standards so you can play in that format. So what you're looking at is how much more expensive it is to be playing Magic in the moment, to be playing in a standard set. But think about to that screenshot of those sets now in 2017, how much less they are, right? It was similar kinds of prices back then. But now you fast forward to today, you can see how much value is lost over time. So all that money that you would have dumped in would have just completely gone down in value. Now you still got the cards, but they're rotated out of standard. And who's playing standard from 5-6 years ago? Nobody. People play Eternal formats or EDH or something. But the cards that I bought for old school and for vintage and for those Eternal formats, those cards are still being used. So let's go over to this screenshot for MTG Goldfish. Now what you see in this screenshot, it's just a snapshot of the set of beta, right? Because I felt it was too skewing to just show like my collection, because I've like added and sold cards, like mostly added like over the years, but that's real specific to me. What you're looking at on this graph is this is just limited edition beta, a complete set, how it's tracked like over the years. Now I zoomed the time scale into the same time scale. It starts right about in May of 2017. Now you can see like Amonkhet, the symbol for that down there on the left. When you're looking at that, you can see like an entire set. You're like, what are you talking, like $60-some thousand for how like a complete set of beta then? So if you put money into beta cards, well, how did it turn out? Well, you can see it right here on the graph. A set of beta exploded from then the $60,000 kind of range up into like the $600,000 kind of range. So it went through a 10x increase, but then we hit this collectibles pullback. Now let's be honest and let's be clear. The collectibles pullback definitely hit Magic cards hard, yes. But they hit the whole market, like Flesh and Blood, Pokemon, like everything has felt the pullback. But anyways, even with a massive pullback, the price even today is well over $200,000 for the cards that were purchased all the way back in 2017 if they were like limited edition beta. But even more important than that, and this is what I really want to stress, those cards are still being played in old school format, in vintage format, many of them in legacy when you're talking about dual lands and other cards. So that's exactly what the point is. And that point, you guys, it's no different today than it was then in 2017. In fact, what you had in 2017, now we didn't completely know it at the time. Like who knew that Magic cards were going to go as crazy as they did? But that was actually an opportunity for people to go in and like buy those cards at a really good price. Well, now what we've had is this Magic 30th scare came out, and now everyone's figuring out, oh, wait a minute, they didn't actually break the reserve list. The reserve list is still intact. All these old original cards are still old original cards. They're all still being used in formats. They're all still incredibly rare and small in supply. And so they really stabilized in price, and now you're starting to see money go back into it. So now you're like in this moment where we now have, looking backwards, confirmation that those cards can hit those kinds of values. And they're, in my opinion, going to go back there, which is why I put a lot of investment money in and like started completing pieces that I needed for play cards. But anyways, the big point is I gave you guys this like direction like way back in like 2017 when I first started my channel. And I'm telling you a similar kind of thing like right now, that I absolutely believe if you want to put money into your game, your money's much better off focusing on eternal formats with cards that are actually rare, that are actually in like low print, low availability, really good cards. That's still the best place to actually park your money, because 10 years from now, I guarantee you, people are still going to be playing vintage. They're still going to be playing old school. Those formats are going to continue. There'll probably even be new formats that'll like pop out. And so what do you think is going to happen with all those standard cards that I just showed you that are like several $1,000s like per set of one each? I guarantee you those things are going to get printed again. They're going to rotate out of the latest formats. They're going to drop in price. The same cycle is going to compete. So the question isn't, can you come up with enough money to like build a deck? Now you guys will find if you just like put your money together, you start accumulating these cards, and like you don't even have to stick with like one. You can trade from like one card into another because they hold their value, right? You don't even have to stick with like one color or something. But if you start entering those markets of those old like eternal format cards, you'll find that eventually you can in fact build decks that actually are competitive, and the money you've put into the hobby actually like holds its value. And can any of us really afford to like take money that you've got and put it into something that just blows away with the wind? Or do you actually want to put your money into something that actually holds it? So anyways, the theology still holds true. This is like a later update on it, and I just wanted to revisit that and make sure you guys saw it. So thanks for tuning back in, guys, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.